Welcome to Lost Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name is Aston, and today we're going to do a review and a recap for Luke Cage Season 1, Episode 4. Now, in this episode, we get to see Luke Cage actually survive the rocket coming in through the window, which wasn't really a doubt. I thought maybe he would have got burned or something, but he didn't get burned. He actually made it out without a scratch. We see he actually survived the old lady too, his landlord, at the same time. And I was like, that's all cool. So we see that. We see, what else we see? We see why he's in here. We see he's actually having flashbacks of being in prison, which is cool. Now we're starting to see that. We're starting to see how everything is going, and now I understand why it's like Shades don't really recognize Luke Cage, and that's pretty cool. With that being said, while we see his flashes of him being in prison, he's like, obviously he's a former police officer. He's he's in jail, kind of for he was innocent. They don't really say why he's in jail for, but we find out he's actually innocent of the crime he's charged for. They say that he must have pissed somebody off for him to actually get time, which makes sense. Like he doesn't want to play by he doesn't want to play by their rules. So we see he's in jail. We see when you even first get in, we see the COs are actually roughing him up, trying to break him. They don't really break him. So we see they send Shades and another inmate to actually break him to see how strong he is. And when they do that, we see Luke Cage actually comes out on top. Once he starts to get the best of the two inmates, we see the sirens start going off, and the riot control COs start coming in. They beat him down basically. They throw him in the hole for a while. And once he's in the hole, well, even before he was in the hole, we see he's starting going to these meetings where he's not really opening up. He's not really talking to anyone. He's just going to go to the meetings. We see that's where he meets his wife at. We see he meets, I think Squabbles was his best friend's name. We see these two meet. And Squabbles opens up during the meetings. He hasn't seen his family since his very first day there. And he's kind of getting used to it now. He even changed his name to adapt to his surroundings. He's not who he used to be anymore. He squabbles while he's in prison, and he's okay that Squabbles doesn't have family. Squabbles doesn't really have friends. It's cool. That's how he's making it through prison. And we see once Luke Cage is in there, he's starting. He's not really opening up. He's talking to them. He's kind of protagonist. I don't know. He's trying to get the counselor to basically talk about why she feels such and such ways. And we see he actually starts to get through to her. They actually start to get through to each other. We see he's starting to open up more to her. We see he's starting to open up to Squabbles. That's really his only friend in there. And we see once he starts opening up to Squabbles and everything, they actually use that against him. So the CO really can't get him to fight for him unless he has something against Luke Cage. And the first thing you see is Squabbles. So he kind of sets Squabbles up for for murder, basically. And he yells out, "Squabbles, drop the shiv." And we see a person get stabbed multiple times, and we see all the guards basically just start attacking Squabbles. And when that happens, we see Luke Cage basically breaks and is willing to work for the CO. Now, with all that going on, we see Luke Cage is no longer attending these meetings. We see Luke Cage hair, his hair is getting wild. One thing I gotta say is Netflix and Marvel, you guys could have got a better wig for him. These might have been the worst wigs I've ever seen. The braids were nasty. Only braids I've ever seen nastier than these ones might have been Meek Mill's. But these braids are disgusting. They could have got better looking hair than the hair they actually gave him. That might be a little small thing, but to me, it could have got more natural looking hair for him. Now to keep going, to keep going on, we see he's actually fighting. He's doing well in the fighting rings. He's starting to be a lot more withdrawn though. So with all that being said, we see that he's a lot more withdrawn. So we see that even Squabbles noticed that he's withdrawn. The counselor is still trying to get information on Luke Cage, but Squabbles isn't opening up for him. She said all she noticed is that Squabbles seemed concerned about Luke Cage. And what else happened? At one point, Luke Cage, when he was attending his meetings, his counseling meetings, someone brought up the fact that they were doing testing in the TS section, I think it was, and she blatantly just said, "Oh, that's not happening. Don't have to worry about that. Just because we're private contracted on me, we're doing experiments on you guys." And it finds out she was lying. She knew about it the whole time. And I'm not really upset about it, but it's just the fact, like, she did blatantly lie to him. And she did help him too at the end. So I don't know really how to go. Like, I don't know if he could have trusted her, because we see while he's doing all the fighting and everything, it comes to a point where they run into each other. Well, she runs into him. She's trying to talk to him, trying to get him back into the classes and everything. He doesn't want to go because he doesn't want to put her at risk. But at that moment, he ends up putting her at risk anyway, because when the CEOs that he's fighting for sees that he actually has a soft spot for her, and now he's planning on using that against her. So Luke Cage goes with her. He kind of makes a plan with her to, like, basically open up to inform people about this fighting ring they have going on in the basement. And we see she may have not really known about that. Well, she doesn't really know about the fighting ring going on, but she does know about the experiments going on with the inmates. And the fighting ring actually feeds into the experiments, though. So we see they're fighting. If they get beat, they don't. Luke Cage doesn't really know what's happening to him. He tells her like he's concerned about her, that she needs to just leave tonight without staying there, because he's trying to figure out a way to break it down. Another thing is we see the CEOs are all using this to basically, once they heal you, whatever, once you go through the experiment, they basically free you after that. So that was cool. We see these fights are also making money on the internet. They're selling these fights. They had a little GoPro pinned on the wall, and I guess they were streaming it live. I never really used a GoPro, so maybe they were just streaming it live to, I don't know, to a certain website or something. That was going on. And the whole time, like, we see Luke Cage and Squabbles are getting a lot closer. When they're training, whatever, we see they're talking about Squabbles is giving him advice about, stay to the center of his opponent, stay within his shoulders, always go to the core and everything. And we see Luke Cage is acting like, how do you know about, like, boxing, whatever? And he tells them, like, I used to be a drug dealer on this corner. I used to have he's a drug dealer on this corner, and he's a drug dealer on that corner. He had, like, mad money he watched mad Kung Fu movies when he wasn't selling drugs. He was also a Golden Gloves champion for 7 years. So he had some boxing experience. He didn't lead with that, but he did lead with the watching Kung Fu movies and everything. And I think he said he liked Bruce Lee better than Jet Li, or opposite around. I can't remember when he said he liked more. I think he said Jet Li over Bruce Lee. Yeah. So, and we see that joke comes back in the reference where he was talking about, I'm still upset for you, for choosing Bruce Lee over Jet Li, which is pretty funny. Now, while all this story of him being in jail is going on, we're getting steady cuts back to what's actually going on with Luke Cage. We see he's still trapped under the rubble with his landlord. I don't understand how she didn't know, but now he's opening up to her. He said, look, only thing I can really tell you is I'm really strong. So when he does that, he tells her that, he starts to get all the debris off of her. He's trying to be really careful because he had already previously mentioned that, if any of these rebels hit together and cause a spark, it might ignite the gas leak that they smell going on, and that could put them in harm's way. Now, with that going on, we see that the detectives above them, she's trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to figure out what actually happened to the building. They see it couldn't have been an explosion from the inside because all the debris fell onto each other. It didn't explode out. So we see like they're trying to figure it out. They see there's like a Crime Stopper camera right there, and when they go to the camera, they see a rocket actually launch, like goes in, and they can't really get anything else. Like that's all they know. They don't get a suspect or anything. Obviously, they suspect it goes to Cottonmouth or Mr. Stokes, whatever you want to call him, but they don't have any evidence. Again, they see a car, but the license plate is like it's kind of blurred out. They can't get a good lock on the license plate, so they can't really link it to anybody. And that's really what's going on. Like there's not much going on. So we flash back into the actual prison. We see once he comes up with his plan, they figure out they kind of like they see him two are talking, and I'm glad not glasses. I don't know why I want to call them glasses. Shades. He see Luke Cage and him talking. When they do that, they kind of corner him. I like to see Shades, but the CO see Shades and Luke Cage talking, and they can see Shades is visually shaking. Not Shades, but Squabble's is visually shaking, and they basically break him down to figure out what Luke Cage's plan is. And they figure out what his plan is. They don't really harm the doctor, but they do harm. They actually kill Squabbles. We find out at the end of the episode. They tell Luke Cage that the doctor actually told him. So basically, they're trying to turn all of Luke Cage's like allies, and turn him against all of his allies. They'll leave him so he don't know who to trust. With that being said, he can't really trust the doctor anymore. He doesn't have Squabbles because Squabbles has been like damn near like he actually was killed. He doesn't know it at the time. And when he's talking to him, we see Shades and the other inmate from the previous episode who tried to break him show up and was like, maybe it was this episode. I think it was this episode too. Squabbles and not Squabbles, Shades and the other inmate basically there. They actually beat him to a pulp. I guess it's the worst they've ever had any inmate who tried to do this experiment on him. They broke him down. They didn't even let him fight that night. And Shades is kind of upset, like, look, man, we we had a good thing going on. You were winning all your fights, nothing else, blah, blah, blah. Y'all was making bank off of it, doing this, doing that. And you betrayed us, and we don't really have any more use for you. So they basically beat him to a pulp. We see they had like the little metal objects and everything. They did a lot of internal damage. We see he's in the infirmary. When he goes to the infirmary, we see the doctor like, this is the worst. Like he has internal damage. We can't transfer him because he'll die. If we keep him here, he'll die. So she basically pleads him like, look, can you please put him in a chamber? Because like, can you please try to save him? Like, do whatever you have to do to save him. And that's what we get to find out. She knows about the actual experiments that are going on. Now, with that being said, she does it. They did an experiment. Well, he's like, I don't know if he'll survive. Like, when he find out, like, the doctor tells us, like, he's dying. Like, look, you're dying right now. If I don't do this, you'll die. If I do this, there's a high chance you'll die. But there's also a chance you might survive. So he actually decides to put Luke Cage inside the, I'm not going to call it the Weapon X chamber, because it's really reminiscent to Weapon X. What it does is really kind of like a Bacta tank mixed with Weapon X. I don't know what to call it. I don't know if you're a Star Wars fan, you know what a Bacta tank is. It's like kind of like a tank filled with water, where they put people in for like for super healing. I don't know, Dragon Ball Z has it too. They have like a little chamber they put people in. So a lot of like sci-fi shows and anime and things have these type of chambers they put people in. They put them in the chamber. We see it starts to they put them on little bars and everything. It starts to fill it up with water, and that's when the CO who Luke Cage threatened to actually expose walks in and has his own plan going on. He does not want Luke Cage to survive this. He ruined. We see he actually does something. I don't know what he hit. He basically said he's gonna burn. We see in the water. The chamber's already filled up. I think maybe he turned off the oxygen. Maybe that's what he did. We see the chamber starts to like, overload and everything. It was crazy because it does heal him. We see it does actually heal him. We don't know like what actually went wrong because anybody else that went through this experiment didn't get the super strength and everything. Only Luke Cage did. So with that, we see the chamber explode. When it explodes, it kills the CO. We don't really see the Doctor. I don't remember seeing the Doctor anyway. Everything is just is just in shambles. There's rebel everywhere, and we see Luke Cage looks in the mirror like he's like, oh, I'm healed up. So right at that moment, he decides he wants his freedom, which again coincides with a scene that's actually going on in the real world. So he tells his landlord to get into like a little cavern, I think maybe like a little refrigerator or something. She gets into it, and he begins to punch the wall in real life. While he's punching the rubble in real life, it goes into his jail scene. It's cutting back and forth. We see he's in prison punching the wall. So we know he's already a fugitive. We have to know how he was a fugitive. So this is, like I said, this is really Weapon X reminiscence. We see he's punching the wall. And you know anything about about Logan, Wolverine? When he did his Weapon X experiment, he kind of did the same thing. When he came out, he like broke out, and he basically tore through a wall. Luke Cage tore through a wall. Weapon X, we see they both had a little plate around their head. The plates on their arms. They both were basically naked. So this is really Weapon X, where this is basically a Wolverine scene they used for it. They had him break out. We see when he breaks out, he has like a big water he has to swim through. He makes it back to, I'm guessing, Harlem. He gets to Harlem. First thing he does is like steal some clothes. And we see when he puts his clothes on, he actually has the original old school Luke Cage outfit. Nobody really expected him to see this. It was really just like a Easter egg because he really didn't wear it. We see he looks in the mirror like he looks like a damn fool. So he takes off the headpiece. I'm pretty sure he rips off the arm. I can't remember if he actually had the armbands on when he was in that scene, but obviously we see him take the little silver headpiece off. So that's no more of an issue. He's not going to be wearing that old school Luke Cage, like the yellow shirt. I was like, oh, as soon as I saw him grab that shirt, like, oh, they're going to do it. It was only for a split second, so all that happens. He gets out, he cuts his hair. He goes to the smooth body that we know. We still don't know what happened to the Doctor, but we see he gets there, he hit the operator, he calls her, he meets up with her, she deletes all his files off the computer. He kind of confronts her about giving his plan up. She tells him like that wasn't me, it was actually squabbles, and they killed him for the information. So Luke Cage is kind of like, damn, like I actually put this man at risk. And that's really all we get for the flashback. So I'm pretty sure we'll figure out more of what happened to her next episode. But in this episode, we get to see while he's going through all this, he cuts into real life. We see when he's breaking through the wall and everything, we see the detective has the camera crew above him, waiting for him to break out, which is kind of like weird. I don't know why she would expose him for, like, what's the reason for her to expose him? Now she does that, we see he breaks out, and that's like really it. And then we go to like the next day and we see he's kind of cleaning up the neighborhood all by himself. He's just in the rubble, picking up walls, moving them and everything. And it's really cool. So I really did like this episode. I don't really, my Power Man move of the week, but of the episode, we had to go to Luke Cage this week. That's for him saving the old lady, and just the way they did it, like the way they did have him saving the old lady, like him punching through the rubble and punching through the wall at the same time for his freedom. It was very, basically, he punched through the wall for his freedom both times, and it's pretty cool to see that. Now, like I said, my downs for this episode is definitely that wig, that beard. They could have got a lot better for this. I know the budget on the Get Down was much better, but when we see Jaden's wig, it's a much better quality than we see Luke Cage's. Maybe they try to break it down. Cause we know the Marvel / Netflix universe, they try to do like as much as they can on a little of the budget as they can. So maybe that might have been why the hair wasn't as good as it could have been, or as good as it should have been. But besides that, that's really my only down. I love to get to see his origin story. I love the Easter egg they had in there for the original Power Man. And thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can follow us on Instagram at @lost_culture. You can follow us on Twitter at Lost_Cult TV, and you can follow me on Instagram at Saint_Aston. And as always, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and stay lost. Well, I don't know really we pick up. They don't really tell us what we pick up. My name's Aston, and today we're going to do a review and a recap for Empire Season 3, Episode